Coming on next, obviously, I call her Kramer, Nikki Drew, is one of those that helps set the standard by which girls basketball is measured here in the state of Ohio.
I agree. She's an outstanding coach and a great person. She's going to be on next. But, you know, Cincinnati basketball in general, of course, I've just kind of touched into Cincinnati a couple of years ago, and I do want to thank you because you've been a very big asset for me when it comes to this area for basketball. But talk about just the basketball in general in this town. You know, you've got some Division I, of course. At Harrison, you're going to have some tremendous talent there. Even Division II with Indian Hill, always having a pretty solid team. You know, Division III, you know, Georgetown, not really in Cincinnati, but it's kind of down in this area.
Sure.
Division IV, you know, talk about the basketball in general, Cincinnati, and maybe just how you see it.
I mean, it's fun to watch, and it's really, you know, knowing some of these girls and seeing them grow up, like the ones that are coming on, Chloe and Bree, and these girls that have been, you've known them since 6th grade or 7th grade, or keep developing, and to see them play now, it's fun. But just the talent now compared to when I played, even when I coached 10 years ago, it's completely different. People are devoting way more time to their games individually, their team concepts, and it's just fun to be a part of, really.
You know, talking about some of the Division I schools that we had mentioned,
sure.
Kind of give me a little bit of your thoughts, and you've probably seen them all, all the other big ones, I call them, because you're in that group. You know, let's first talk about Mason.
Okay.
You know, we'll talk about them. Bree's here tonight.
Okay.
You know, they got 3. I really like the Ammons kid, of course, Kayla McDowell, Jenna Gunn. They're just outstanding. They got a really nice nucleus of starters. Talk about Mason.
Yeah, they're a tough team. That was one team we were fortunate to get by this year, but it was because we shut the lights out. You know, sometimes luck's part of the game, and that's the way it falls. But Rob does a great job with them. I mean, Bree, Kayla, Jenna. I mean, those are 3 big-time Division I basketball players or prospects, and you know, Mason, they could go as far as anybody. I mean, I believe there's 4 or 5 teams here in Cincinnati that could get the state for sure, if not win it, with the talent and coaching, that mixture together. But at this far along, you got to take some luck too. You got to stay injury free, and there's got to be some bounces that go your way and some calls that go your way for all that to kind of shape out.
Another team that has a couple players here tonight, Princeton.
Yes.
Went to the regionals last year, got knocked off, I think, by Springboro, if I remember correctly. Kelsey Mitchell, what can you say about her that hasn't already been said? Chelsea Mitchell, getting better. You know, she's a kid that her stock's going up too. I really, you know, think that her game's going up. But there's more than just those 2. You know, the Roper kid's solid too. You know, they do a nice job. Dill does over Princeton.
She does a great job. I mean, she gets a ton out of those kids. I mean, they play fast, but they play disciplined, and you don't always get those 2 combinations. They get after it defensively, and they play together. Yeah, we can't say enough about Kelsey. I mean, she's phenomenal. We know that. I've never underestimated Chelsea. And probably what a lot of people don't know is she lightens them up a little bit, and there's no doubt about it. You need that on your team. You know, she gets them going too. So, I mean, they're scary.
And the last team we'll talk about as far as Division I is a team that's really had a really outstanding year. Chloe Pavlech has done a great job leading that team this year. But Sycamore is a team that they're a pretty dangerous team. You know, they're another team that could be, you know, has a chance to be sitting in Columbus, you know, 3rd week of March. But, you know, talk about Sycamore.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, you have another great coach. I mean, she does a great job with them. But the thing about Sycamore is that they're really deep. And, you know, we can mention Chloe, of course, an amazing leader. I mean, she's one of the best I've ever seen. Just lead a team when she's on the floor, when she's off the floor, they're different. But the amount of depth the team has and the utility, I mean, they have a lot of weapons. You know, they got Alexis that can shoot it, and they got Imani that can shoot it, and Carrie Kleiss is a good inside presence, but then what she brings off the bench, you know, could be equally valuable at any given time. I mean, you don't know who their leading scorer is going to be, and that's, you know, a lot of times you don't want to play a team that has that many weapons because you don't know who's going to come through.
Right. And we talked about, you know, 3 or 4 really good Cincinnati teams, and you got Fairmont, you got Springboro, you got Fairborn. Division I, you know, flip a coin because, I mean, it's basically whoever gets the calls, whoever hits the big shots, stays injured, like exactly what you said earlier, is going to be the team to get out of here, I think.
I agree with you 100%.
What was it like playing for Xavier? Do you think the game has changed at all from when you played and now?
Absolutely. It's definitely more athletic. And they're bigger, honestly. I mean, the guards now, when I played, I'm 5'9", and that was a big point guard in the A-10. You know, everybody thought I was such a tall point guard. You know, now there's 6'1", 6'2" point guards, and then of course the post presence. So bigger, faster, stronger, a lot more training.
You know, and Amy took over this year, and you know, it's a little bit of a transition year, I think, because they lost two really outstanding professional players.
Right.
But you know, she's really done a pretty nice job. But considering, you know, they have, and I don't know all the kids over there, Moss, I guess, is pretty solid for them. But you know, have you seen them? I'm assuming you've seen them. We're going to talk about, you know, how Amy's done this year with them.
Sure. I mean, Amy and I come from the same pedigree in a way. You know, we both played for Melanie Balcom. So when you talk about great pioneers of the game or great, you know, coaches that know the X's and O's in and out, you can see her trying to utilize some of those philosophies, probably combined with her own. But the kids are playing hard. You know, she's only playing 7 or 8. So she has to use them pretty smart too, and that's a fine line to walk. You know, how much can they be on their legs, how much they need to be off their legs, you know, how many chances can we take here. So. And
Melanie done a great job at Vanderbilt.
Yes.
You know, talk about that.
Yes, of course. You know, I'm a little bit partial because I played for and worked for her, but what she does there to compete in the SEC every year, it's a different kind of athlete, different type of kid. But that to me shows the great basketball mind that she has. That I was always always tried to pick that up from her.
And then after Xavier, you wanted to play anywhere, I'm assuming. I think, didn't you play a couple years?
Yeah, I played in Germany and France.
Okay. Talk about real quick before I let you go.
Okay.
How was that? Because you always hear about, and you know, I know quite a few that have gone overseas pretty well, and you know, talk about how easy that is, or how tough that is to get used to, and some of the things that you really had to get used to over there.
Sure. I mean, I would have to say it was the most instrumental, probably, time of my life, because you learn a lot about yourself. You can't communicate with people. The simple things you take for granted, like talking to mom or dad, or using your phone to do this, or get directions and know where you go. All those things we take for granted every day, and I didn't have that. I had to grow up real fast. You know, obviously I went to Xavier, so I stayed local. When you go overseas, you gotta make or break yourself. So it was a good learning lesson for me, and I wouldn't change it. So it was good. And
then your decision to come coach at Lakota. You know, giving back to this community. And I'm a big advocate of the ladies who give back to the sport, and I commend you a lot of that. Talk about your decision to come back here to coach.
Sure, thank you. Yes, at times it is not always easy because of the time commitment in our families and what have you. But I knew I always wanted to coach. I mean, I knew since I was probably 8 or 9. You know, I knew as a point guard, I knew I loved the lead. I was going to be a coach. So coming to Lakota from Coleraine was because I wanted to be closer to home and try to. There's 35, 40-minute drives. Maybe I could save that with my family, and Lakota seemed to be the perfect fit for me.
Very good. Any other things you want to ask her, Celina, while you got a chance?
What was it like being the Dobo for Bandy?
The Dobo for Bandy. That's awesome. Where did you get that?
Yeah, that wasn't from me. That was her own.
That's great. I loved it. I loved it. It's good. I knew my role. Let's just say I knew my role.
Anything else?
Nope.
Any more Dobo questions? No. Thank you very much,
Sure.
Nikki. I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah.
Nikki Drew, head coach at Lakota East.